In the second half of chapter 121 of Adiparva of Mahabharata, and the continuance of the vow. O King, O tiger among men, show thyself to me. O King, O Lord, command once more thy wretched and bitterly weeping wife plunged in woe. Kunti continued, it was thus, O Pandu, that the beautiful Bhadra wept over the death of her lord, and the weeping Bhadra clasped in her arms the corpse in anguish of heart. Then she was addressed by an incorporeal voice of these words, rise up, O Bhadra, and leave this place. O thou sweet smiles, I grant thee this boon. I will beget offspring upon thee. Lie thou down with me on thy own bed after the catamenial bath on the night of the 8th of the 14th day of the moon. Thus addressed by the incorporeal voice, the chaste Bhadra did, and she was directed for obtaining offspring. And, O bull of the Bharatas, the corpse of her husband begat upon her 7 children with 3 Salvas and 4 Madras. O bull of the Bharatas, do thou also beget offspring upon me, like the illustrious Vyushitasva, by the exercise of that ascetic power which thou possessest. Section 122. Sambhava Parva continued. Vaisampayana said, thus addressed by his loving wife, King Pandu, well acquainted with all rules of morality, replied in these words of virtuous import, O Kunti, what thou hast said is quite true. Vishitasva of old, did even as thou hast said. Indeed, he was equal unto the celestials themselves. But I shall now tell thee about the practices of all indicated by illustrious rishis, fully acquainted with every rule of morality. O thou of handsome face and sweet smiles, women formerly were not immured within houses and dependent on husbands and other relatives. They used to go about freely, enjoying themselves as best as they liked. O thou of excellent qualities, they did not then adhere to their husbands faithfully, and yet, O handsome one, they were not regarded sinful, for that was the sanctioned usage of the times. That very usage is followed to this day by birds and beasts without any exhibition of jealousy. That practice, sanctioned by precedent, is applauded by great rishis. O thou of taper ties, the practice is yet regarded with respect amongst the northern Kurus. Indeed, that usage so lenient to women has their sanction of antiquity. The present practice, however, of women's being confined to one husband for life has been established by lately. I shall tell thee in detail who established it and why. It has been heard by us that there was a great rishi of the name of Udalaka, who had a son named Swetaketu, who also was an ascetic of Mayaved. O thou of eyes like lotus petals, the present virtuous practice has been established by that Svetaketu from Inga. Hear thou the reason. One day, in the presence of Svetaketu's father, a Brahmana came and catching Svetaketu's mother by the hand told her, "Let us go." Beholding his mother seized by the hand and taken away apparently by force, the son was greatly moved by wrath. Seeing his son indignant, Uddalaka addressed him and said, "Be not angry, O son. This is the practice sanctioned by antiquity. The women of all orders in this world are free, O son. Men in this matter, as regards their respective orders, act as kind." The rishi's son, Svetaketu, however, disapproved of the usage and established in the world the present practice as regards men and women. It has been heard by us, O thou of great virtue, that the existing practice dates from that period among human beings, but not among beings of other classes. Accordingly, since the establishment of the present usage, it is sinful for women not to adhere to their husbands. Women, transgressing the limits assigned by the rishi, became guilty of slaying the embryo. And men, too, violating a chaste and loving wife who has from her maidenhood observed the vow of purity, became guilty of the same sin. The woman also, who being commanded by her husband to raise offspring, refuses to do his bidding, becomes equally sinful. Thus, O timid one, was the existing usage established by old by Svetaketu, the son of Uddalaka, in defiance of antiquity. O thou of taper ties, it has also been heard by us that Madayanti, the wife of Saudasa, commanded by her husband to raise offspring, went unto Rishi Vasishtha, and on going in unto him, the handsome Madayanti obtained a son named Asmaka. She did this, moved by the desire of doing good to her husband. O thou of lotus eyes, thou knowest, O timid girl, how we ourselves for the perpetuation of the Kuru race were begotten by Krishna Dvaipayana. O faceless one, beholding all these precedents, behoveth thee to do my bidding, which is not inconsistent with virtue, O princess, who is devoted to her husband. It has also been said by those acquainted with the rules of morality that a wife, when her monthly season comes, must ever seek her husband, though as other times she deserveth liberty. The wise have declared this to be the ancient practice, but be the act sinful or sinless, those acquainted with the Vedas have declared that it is the duty of wives to do what their husbands bid them do. Especially, O thou of faithful features, I, who am deprived of the power of procreation, having yet become desirous of beholding offspring, deserve the more to be obeyed by thee. O amiable one, joining my palms, furnish it with rosy fingers, and making of them a cup as a lotus leaves, I place them on my head to propitiate thee. O thou of layer looks, it behoveth thee to raise offspring at my command. Though some Brahmana possesseth of high ascetic merit. For then, owing to thee, O thou fair hips, I may go the way that is reserved for those that are blessed with children. Vaisampayana continued, thus addressed by Pandu, the subjugator of hostile cities, the handsome Kunti, ever attentive to what was agreeable and beneficial to her lord, when replied unto him, saying, in my girlhood, O Lord, I was in my father's house engaged in attending upon all guests. I used to wait respectfully upon Brahmanas of rigid vows and great ascetic merit. One day, I gratified with my attentions that Brahmana, whom people call Durvasa, of mind under full control and possessing knowledge of all the mysteries of religion. Pleased with my services, that Brahmana gave me a boon in the form of a mantra, formula of invocation, for calling into my presence any one of the celestials I liked. And the Vishi, addressing me, said, anyone among the celestials whom thou callest by the shell of girl, approach thee and be obedient to thy will, whether he likes it or not. And, O princess, thou shalt also have offspring through his grace. O Bharata, that Brahmana told me this when I lived in my father's house. The words uttered by the Brahmana can never be false. The time also hath come when they may yield fruit. Commanded by thee, O royal sage, I can by that mantra summon any of the celestials, so that we may have good children. O foremost of all truthful men, tell me which of the celestials I shall summon. Know that, as regards this matter, I await your commands. Hearing this, Pandu replied, O handsome one, strive duly this very day to gratify our wishes. Fortunate one, summon thou the God of justice. He is the most virtuous of the celestials. The God of justice and virtue will never be able to pollute us with sin. The world also, O beautiful princess, will then think that what we do can never be unholy. The sun also that we shall obtain from him shall in virtue be certainly the foremost among the Kurus. Begotten by the God of justice and morality, he would never set his heart upon anything that is sinful or unholy. Therefore, O thou sweet smiles, steadily keeping virtue before thy eyes, and duly observing holy vows, summon thou the God of justice and virtue by the help of thy solicitations and incantations. Vaisampayana continued. Then Kunti, that best of women thus addressed by her lord, said, so be it, and bowing down to him, and reverently circumambulating his person, she resolved to do his bidding. The Mahabharata, Book 1, Adiparva, Section 123. Sambhava Parva continued. Vaisampayana said, "Oh, Janamejaya, when Gandhari's conception had been a full year old, it was then that Kunti summoned the eternal god of justice to obtain offspring from him. And she offered without loss of time sacrifices unto the god and began to duly repeat the formula that Durvasa had imparted to her some time before. Then the god, overpowered by her incantations, arrived at the spot where Kunti was seated in his car, resplendent as the sun. Smiling, he asked, "O Kunti, what am I to give thee?" And Kunti too, smiling in her turn, replied, "Thou must even give me offspring." Then the handsome Kunti was united in intercourse with the god of justice in his spiritual form, and obtained from him a son devoted to the good of all creatures. And she brought his excellent child, who lived to acquire a great fame at the 8th Mihurta, called Abhijit, of the hour of noon of that very auspicious day of the 7th month, Kartika, viz., the 5th of the lighted fortnight, when the star Jyeshtha, in conjunction with the moon, was ascendant. And as soon as the child was born, an incorporeal voice from the sky said, "This child shall be the best of men, the foremost of those that are virtuous, endued with great prowess, and truthful in speech. He shall certainly be the ruler of the earth. And this first child of Pandu shall be known by the name of Yudhishthira. Possessed of prowess and honesty of disposition, he shall be a famous king known throughout the 3 worlds." Pandu, having obtained that virtuous son, again addressed his wife and said, "The wise have declared that a Kshatriya must be endued with physical strength, otherwise he is no Kshatriya. Therefore, ask thou for an offspring of superior strength." Thus commanded by her lord, Kunti then invoked Vayu, and the mighty god of wind, thus invoked, came unto her, riding upon a deer, and said, "What, O Kunti, am I to give thee? Tell me what is in thy heart." Smiling in modesty, she said to him, "Give me, O best of celestials, a child endued with great strength and largeness of limbs, and capable of humbling the pride of everybody." The god of winds thereupon begat upon her the child afterwards known as Bhima, of mighty arms and fierce prowess. And upon the birth of that child, endued with extraordinary strength and incorporeal voice of Bharata, as before said, "This child shall be the foremost of all endued with strength." I must tell you, O Bharata, of another wonderful event that occurred after the birth of Vrikodara, Bhima. While he fell from the lap of his mother upon the mountain breast, the violence of the fall broke into fragments the stone upon which he fell without his infant body being injured in the least. And he fell from his mother's lap because Kunti, frightened by a tiger, had risen up suddenly, unconscious of the child that lay asleep on her lap. And as she had risen, the infant of body heart, as the thunderbolt, falling down from the mountain breast, broke into 100 fragments the rocky mass upon which he fell. And beholding this, Pandu wondered much. And it so happened that that very day of which Vrikodara was born was also a best of Bharatas, the birthday of Duryodhana, who afterwards became the ruler of the whole earth. After the birth of Vrikodara, Pandu again began to think, how am I to obtain a very superior son who shall achieve worldwide fame? Every thing in the world depends on destiny and exertion. But destiny can never be successful except by timely exertion. We have heard it said that Indra is the chief of the gods. Indeed, he is endued with immeasurable might and energy and prowess and glory. Gratifying him with my asceticism, I shall obtain from him a son of great strength. Indeed, the son he giveth me must be superior to all, and capable of vanquishing in battle all men and creatures other than men. I shall therefore practice the severest austerities with heart, deed, and speech. After this, the Kuru king Pandu, taking counsel with the great rishis, commanded Kunti to observe an auspicious war for 1 full year, while he himself commenced, O Bharata, to stand upon one leg from morning to evening, and practice other severe austerities, with mind wrapped in meditation, for gratifying the Lord of the celestials. It was after a long time that Indra, gratified with such devotion, approached Pandu and addressing him said, I shall give thee, O king, a son, who will be celebrated all over the 3 worlds, and who will promote the welfare of Brahmanas, kind and all honest men. The son I shall give thee will be the smiter of the wicked, and the delight of friends and relatives. Foremost of all men, he will be an irresistible slayer of all foes. Thus addressed by Vasava, the king of the celestials, the virtuous king of the Kuru race, well recollecting those words, said unto Kunti, O fortunate one, thy war has become successful. The Lord of the celestials has been gratified, and is willing to give thee a son such as thou desirest, of superhuman achievements and great fame. He will be the oppressor of all enemies, and possessed of great wisdom, endued with a great soul and splendor equal unto the sun, invincible in battles, and of great achievements. He will also be extremely handsome. O thou of fair hips and sweet smiles, the Lord of the celestials. Well, it seems to be too high, and my phone just stopped to work. To be continued.